Honestly, that's what you want. That's the most important, fun part of Disneyland is the relationship you have with your kid while you are there.
Help me, Mama.
Hey everybody, this is Emily for Help Me Mama, and I wanted to tell you guys some tips and tricks for going to Disneyland. I didn't ever think that we would go, but my husband wanted to go for his birthday, because he became a big softie when he married me, and he wanted to take our kids to Disneyland. And we had such a great time. I'm not kidding you guys. Best day ever. There were a couple tantrums, but they were so few, like maybe one per each boy. That was it. I could not have been more impressed. And they were tired. I mean, it was like, how long of a day it was.
10 to 9.
But we left. What time did we leave at? We left at 6:30?
Yeah.
We left before 6:30. We got home at midnight. It was a long day. So, considering all of that, they did pretty well. So I'm just going to go over tips and tricks. There are things that we did, I think that we did that went well. Some things that we did that we could have done better. And so I just want to go over it. Number one, this is most important. My sister, when we were planning to go, she said, Emily, you need to temper your expectations because you think it's the happiest place on earth, but whenever I go, it's tantrum central. I mean, like every family is dealing with tantrums. I mean, at some point in the day, it's going to happen, okay? But I cannot tell you how grateful I am that I have been committed to taking my children grocery shopping, regular shopping with me, like almost all the time when I shop, they're with me. And then walking, we go on long walks, probably 50% of our weekday mornings. Long walks where they are walking most of the time. I make them get out of the stroller. And that made the day so much more easy for them because number one, they're used to me saying, no, you cannot have that toy. And they're used to walking. I mean, they walk like 2 miles when we go on our walks in the morning. So they walk a lot and they're 2 and 4. They're not that big. So they were really able to handle Disneyland because they can walk a lot, they can hear no a lot, and like that's what you have to do to be at Disneyland, okay? And they didn't have tantrums when we said no, you couldn't have something. The other thing I was realizing is that if you have a zoo nearby or something like a zoo, it's a good indicator. Like if your kids do well at the zoo, especially without a stroller, your kids will probably do pretty okay at Disneyland because we went to the zoo today a couple days later. It's been my husband's like birthday weekend. And I realized like all these times that we have a zoo membership, there's a nearby zoo. All these times that we've been to the zoo, it's been like practice for a big theme park. Now our zoo is pretty small, so that was really good practice for them because it is kind of like a theme park. So that was definitely good practice. I definitely say if you want to go to Disneyland, you need to have shopping trips down, you need to have long walks down, and maybe even try going to a zoo to see if you're really prepared to go. So the next thing I would say is what to bring. We brought an ergo. We have our big double stroller, which was handy in the park because we got to store everything. But if I was to go again, I would probably choose a smaller stroller because it was really hard to get on and off the tram. Like we had to take sleeping babies out of our stroller, pass them to people that we were with, and then my husband collapsed the stroller like all in 30 seconds, got that thing onto the tram and then off the tram again, unfolded it, got the sleeping babies back in. If you're gonna go with a stroller, you want it to be a really small one. Because also, if you're in the big parking structure, they only have 2 elevators and you cannot take a big fat stroller on the escalator. You could maybe get away with a little like umbrella stroller. That's what I would probably bring next time. Something that you could collapse and hold on your arm while you go up the escalator. Otherwise, we waited like 45 minutes. Would you say that long? Maybe a half hour.
Yeah.
We waited a half hour for the elevator to get back to our car. And remember, it takes an hour to get from your car to the park, like into the park, and it takes an hour to get back, so get there early. For us, the park opened at 10. We were thinking, okay, we got there at 9:30. We were hoping to be there at 9. But we should have like backed it up even, we were exhausted by the end of the day, but we could have backed it up like another hour and then gone to downtown Disney and gotten some breakfast in the morning and then gone into the park. and not have it been like sort of a stressful rush getting in there. So if you get there before the park opens, that'll make a little bit less of a rush getting in, because I don't like getting into the park and feeling like, oh my gosh, we already lost time, that feeling. So definitely a small stroller, but one that maybe has storage underneath. So you need food and a backpack. So like mom does the ergo, the baby backpack, dad does the backpack. We also had a backpack that was also a cooler. So it was so convenient. We put all of our food back there. We mostly brought snacks, only a couple of things. We basically brought like refrigerator items, things that we didn't even really need ice for. Like we brought PB&Js and we just let them sit in the cooler and they were fine. So for lunchtime at least. So those are like the minimum requirements. I would also suggest sunscreen, diapers, wipes, the rest, the daily things that you would bring. But I wouldn't really go overboard with an emergency care pack. Oh, one more thing about what to bring. To keep yourself organized in the car. This is the best trick. I don't know who, I think it was even my mom maybe who taught me this trick. In the car, you need a box to keep all your snacks and gadgets in your purse. And I just love this idea of any trip that you're gonna go on, you have a small box that can fit either in the empty seat or under, like at the feet of the seat where the baby's car seat is. And then you take everything out, put it in the backpack or the stroller. And at the end of the day, anything that's left you put back in that box so it doesn't not go all over the car. So if you have a snack, you want to take it out in the car. When you're done with that snack, you don't just put it next to you, you put it back in the box. Because the worst thing is when you clean out the car before your big trip and then you have to clean out your car again after this trip. So I will probably have to do a little minor cleanup, but because of the box, all of our trash, all of our leftovers, it's all in the box. So I can just go through the box instead of the whole car. The next is plan your route, plan what you're gonna do in the park a little bit better. If I was to go back, I would do Tomorrowland first. I would probably walk around Main Street for a little while and then do Tomorrowland. The Buzz Lightyear ride was so cool. And for all ages, I mean, Melly had fun on it, she's 1. I had fun on it. Grandma had fun on it. The toddlers loved it. You shoot and you ride, and like Melly, she even got to do the joystick and we just spun around wherever she was going to spin us. It was awesome. So I would do that, and then maybe if you're willing to break rules a little bit, I would say keep most of the group in line for Buzz Lightyear, and then maybe dad take Toddlers or whoever on the rocket ship ride right next to it. There's a couple opportunities to do that where you have a really long line ride right next to a shorter line ride. You can kind of do both at the same time as somebody holds your place. So if you're willing to do that, I'm a little bit more willing to do that than my very much rule following husband. So you got to pick your top rides and then plan your route. I mean, there's maps of Disneyland online. There's also the Disney app that can help you do that. I didn't do the Disney app so much. Ivan was on it. You kind of want to have a point person on the Disney app if you're going to use it, because you don't want everyone to be looking at their phones all day. So get there early. I already talked about it. Expect to wait. Like I said, it's going to be like you wait an hour, 15 minutes for the elevator, another 15 minutes for the tram, another 15 minutes to just get your check-in, setting up the strollers, and then you have a line. There's a line for everything. There was not a line for the bathrooms while we were there, which was great, but there was basically a line for everything. So you just have to expect that. There's, for any really good ride, probably about a half hour at least. And we went on a weekday in February. It was still busy. Expect to wait, and then utilize the fast passes. Especially if you have, you can tag team it where somebody's waiting in line and then somebody else can run and grab a couple of fast passes, at least 1 or 2, and then come back. I think that that's a great strategy if you're willing to do that. Otherwise, you grab the fast pass, you go on a ride, and then you come back or whatever it is. So those are my main tips. Okay, one more thing that I forgot to add about the plan is that you really want to plan taking an afternoon rest time. We found a spot actually in Toontown. There was just like a little bench circle area that you could rest. Another good place would be in New Orleans Square. And that's such a just a relaxing spot. If there's any relaxing spot in the park, that's where it is. And I would pull up your stroller under a tree where it's shady and just do as much of your nap time routine with whoever needs to nap as you can. And it might be a good time for dad or grandma to take older kids somewhere else so they're not being so loud in your quiet area. But I had actually gotten Melly to sleep on me, and I could have done a better job of maybe snuggling up Rai so he could actually sleep. He did not sleep, but he did rest in our stroller for, I would say, at least 45 minutes, which was a huge deal. It was a huge deal. If you have anybody like 3 and under, if they do not nap, you want them to rest, because you know the payoff of having them rest. So definitely plan for a rest time in the afternoon. And then this is my best tip for you. I realized early on in the day that I was in like helicopter mode, sort of protecting my clan, like overseeing, like, is everyone here? Is everyone safe? Don't go over there. Don't run that way. Okay, and you kind of have to be that way because it's Disneyland, and while it's so fun, it's also so dangerous to get separated, especially when you have young kids. So what I realized is that all of my mothering for the day was up here, and it was not down there with them. And so I had to remind myself, because you would do this throughout the day as you're staying home with your kids. You get down on their level, you play with them, you're on eye level with them. But when you're at Disneyland, you're overseeing, okay? And it was very easy for me to forget to get down on their level. So while we were in line, while we were eating, I would just, with each child, as I would at home, remind them, I love you, I'm so proud of you, you're listening so well right now, you're being so cute and so much fun, that is a huge blessing for me to be here, and just to encourage them while you're there, because I noticed if all I was doing was, don't go over there, come back here, you need to stay close, then they're not getting the relational aspect of you on the most fun day, okay? They're only getting like, honey, that's gonna be in the video. You have to not just have like the protecting and disciplining part of mothering, especially at a fun place like Disneyland. You also have to have the love and encouragement that you would have on a regular day, because a good day at a great place can become sort of a whiny, separated, tantrumy, yucky day at a great place if you're not continuing to have that relationship all day long. And honestly, that's what you want. That's the most important, fun part of Disneyland, is the relationship you have with your kid while you are there. I'm telling you, it is way more fun to go to Disneyland as an adult than when I was a kid. I mean, we went when I was a kid, and it was so much fun. I'm so grateful to my mom and dad for taking us there. It's a blast, but it's so much more fun as a kid. I can see why they took us. It's just a blast. But again, like I will say again, practice this like all day, every day practice of how you are supposed to act when you're in public. It's like a huge payoff when you go to one of these big places. So I hope you go. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful time, and that you just feel blessed. I mean, I almost burst into tears on Small World, of all rides, like the most annoying ride. I was almost in tears because Melly was like dancing and smiling. It was the first ride she wasn't afraid of, and because they're all dark, all the old ones are dark. And I just was overwhelmed by what an amazing blessing it was to be there. I mean, outrageous. It is an outrageous blessing to be there. So if you guys could please share this video if it was helpful to you. And if you have seen my videos before, press that subscribe button, because you know there is definitely more coming.
Help me, Mama.